Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio. So today, I'm bringing you news of another really annoying Sableye card. Just like this one. Or this one. Now, this particular Sableye has 60 HP, and he is a basic Pokemon, meaning he can be searched out using both level and nest balls, which is very handy. One retreat is actually very, very useful because the attack he's got that we want has one energy. So one retreat means you can attach an energy, do the attack, and then retreat when you need to. One energy for 20 damage is very meh, and no weakness is irrelevant because he's got 60 HP. None of that is important. What's important is his first attack. One dark energy, your opponent can't play supporter cards from their hand during their next turn. Now, Stoutland had a good old go at blocking supporter cards, was never really any good. So what makes Sableye any better? Well, there's a few things you can do with Sableye. One thing you can do is just slow the game down and get set up. Maybe you play one in a Darkrai deck, your opponent is having a very slow start, so you just supporter lock them for a few turns, get a whole bunch of dark energy on the field and smash. These speed Darkrai decks, if they get enough energy on the field, they just win. Maybe Sableye buys you a couple of turns. Maybe you combine it with the new Salazzle, whereby when you evolve, your opponent's active Pokemon is both burned and poisoned, so you leave them burned and poisoned. They've got nothing in their hand, so you stop them playing supporters, and that's really what Sableye does. Generally, I've got nothing, sooner or later I'll draw into an N or a Professor Sycamore and I'll be off. Well, Sableye basically says, yeah, sooner or later you'll draw into an N or a Sycamore and you won't be able to play it. But really here, the best and at the moment most annoying use for Sableye is in Decidueye Vileplume. Vileplume blocks item cards. Decidueye sits there using the Feather Arrow ability to drop damage. So what you do is you stick Sableye in the active Pokemon, and all of a sudden now your opponent can't play items, your opponent can't play supporter cards, and you're dropping a whole bunch of damage counters on them using Feather Arrow. They can basically play stadiums, energy, and Pokemon cards. That's not going to get them all too far. Now, initially I looked at this combo, as a lot of people did, and went, oh my goodness, no items, no supporters, and Feather Arrow. This is ridiculous. Goodbye Pokemon trading card game. But actually, this might not be quite as good as people are making out. Firstly, we've got Machoke. See my video from a couple days ago. Machoke basically blocks Decidueye's Feather Arrow. So you get a Machoke on the bench, your opponent gets a Sableye in the active, and you both just sit there drawing cards for a while. Nobody's really doing very much of anything. Want another thing? Well, Sableye's only got 60 HP. Sableye's not that hard to KO. Sooner or later, you're going to have a Pokemon and enough energy to do 60 damage. So it's not like Sableye's going to sit there for the entire game. Sooner or later, you're probably going to draw into something to get a KO on Sableye. Something like a Tauros double colorless would get the KO here. And Feather Arrow, even if you've got free Decidueye out, it's 60 damage per turn. It's not that much. I love Sableye as a tool in Decidueye Vileplume decks, but I don't know if he makes them broken. The other thing, of course, if they're doing 60 to 80 damage per turn, they might end up decking out because they've probably played a whole bunch of item cards in order to set up those Decidueyes. But here's the thing. Sableye doesn't need to be the only strategy in a Decidueye Vileplume deck. All it needs to be is one more tool, one more weapon, one more option. You can still play Lugia and Tauros because they're colorless attackers. They don't need a specific kind of energy. They can just keep going, and if you need Tauros and Lugia, you use them. But if your opponent's not drawing very well and you just need a few turns of Feather Arrow to win the game, that's when Sableye comes out and stops your opponent playing supporter cards. That's what he's good for, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the other thing to note, if you're playing a Decidueye deck, you're going to want to be using Grass Energy so that you can use Decidueye's GX attack, Hollow Hunt. So having to use dark energy here in order to get Sableye going is a little bit awkward. But please don't think I'm being particularly down on Sableye. I'm not saying that Sableye is a bad card. Not by any stretch. I am saying that Sableye is a very interesting card. Sableye is the very epitome of a card you want in your binder, because sooner or later there are going to be decks where bringing out a Sableye, and it will win you games. Maybe it's Decidueye Vileplume, maybe it combines with something like Salazzle, or maybe it's a card that hasn't even been released yet. Either way, I'm giving Sableye free wassies. You need Sableye in your binder. He might be really good. 60 HP, doesn't do any damage, but he's not really a card to do damage and win the game. He's a card for, right, my opponent's not drawing very well. If I slow the game down now, I can win. Now, you know the deal, ladies and gentlemen. There is a comment section. Go nuts, be nice. Tell me what you think about Sableye. There are buttons to both like this video and subscribe to this channel, and if I were you, I would have already have used them both. But of course, I would say that. You can follow me on Twitter @TheWassy, and the most important thing as always is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.